Hello everyone, this is Ashmita and in today's video we are solving the IIT JAM 2024 paper Biotechnology, and here we have the question: determine the correctness or otherwise of the following assertion and the reasoning. So here the assertion says the resolving power of a transmission electron microscope is higher than that of the light microscope, and the reason along with this says the wavelength of electrons is shorter than that of the visible light. So we need to see whether both of them are correct and whether the reason is correct for the assertion or not, or for B we can also see whether the assertion and the reasoning are both true or not, or whether the reason is not the correct reason for the assertion or not, and the others are like this. These are the options given. So let's discuss the question. Now see, we should be going with both A means assertion and its reason are true, and the reason is the correct reason for the assertion. Why? Under the resolving power of a microscope refers to its ability to distinguish between two closely shaped objects. Now it is inversely proportional to the wavelength of the light or the radiation that is used. Okay. Coming to the wavelength that is mentioned in the reasoning part. Now the wavelength of the visible light ranges from approximately 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. Okay, and electrons used in the TEMs have much shorter wavelengths, typically in the range of 0.2 nanometers to 0.5 nanometers. Okay, so like that. And higher resolution with shorter wavelengths. Now, due to the shorter wavelength of the electrons compared to the visible light, TEMs can distinguish between the objects that are much closer together, resulting in a higher resolving power, like up to 0.1 nm, that is 0.1 nanometers, while the light microscopes are limited to around 0.2 micron. So therefore both the assertion and the reasoning are true, and the reason accurately explains the higher resolving power of the TEMs. Let's move over to the next question. So this question is all about matching. Okay, match the morphology in group 1 with the corresponding microorganism in group 2. So with P. coccus, actually P. coccus refers to a spherical bacterium. Okay, spherical means you all can understand a kind of circle type, spherical. Okay, and the matching microorganism in group 2 would be Neisseria. Okay, so with coccus we are matching Neisseria. Next, rod. Now with rod, actually rod refers to a rod-shaped bacterium. Okay, and the matching microorganism in group 2 would be Bacillus. Third are comma. Now this refers to a comma-shaped bacterium, and the matching microorganism in group 2 is Vibrio. Next is spiral. Spiral is again a spiral shaped bacterium, and the matching microorganism is going with Treponema. Okay, Treponema. Let's move over to the next question. Which one of the following genetic crosses and their results indicates the cytoplasmic inheritance? Now over here we have got 4 options. The first one says wild type male, mutant female, okay, 100% progenia mutant. Now for cytoplasmic inheritance, first let us discuss what is cytoplasmic inheritance. Now it refers to the transmission of genetic traits from parent to offspring through the cytoplasm of the egg cell. Okay, and this is in contrast to the Mendelian inheritance, where traits are passed on through genes in the nucleus. Okay, so that's the difference. Let's talk about the mitochondria and chloroplasts. Now before that, let me tell you that the first option is only the correct option, because out of the 4 options provided, the cross that indicates the cytoplasmic inheritance is wild type male, mutant female, okay, which gives 100% progeny are mutant. Okay, so talking about the mitochondria and the chloroplast, these are two organelles which are found in the cytoplasm that contain their own DNA. And this DNA is separate from the nuclear DNA and is passed on from the mother to the offspring through the egg cell. Okay. Now in option A, the wild type male does not contribute any kind of cytoplasmic factors to the offspring, as sperm only contain the nuclear DNA. The mutant female, however, does contribute mutant mitochondrial or chloroplast DNA to the offspring through the egg cell. As a result, all of the offspring are mutant. Okay. Now, in the options B, C, and D, the results are not consistent with the cytoplasmic inheritance. In these 3 cases, what happens? The genotype of the male, genotype of the male parent also has an influence on the phenotype of the offspring, which is not the case with cytoplasmic inheritance. Okay, therefore the only option that demonstrates the cytoplasmic inheritance is option A, where the mutant phenotype is transmitted from the mother to all the offspring regardless of the genotype of the father. Next question, which of the following is not a characteristic morphological feature of the apoptotic cells? Okay, now the answer is increased cell size. Now what is apoptotic or apoptosis? Okay, ptosis. This is also known as, let me write down the word, it's apoptosis. Apoptosis is also known as a programmed cell death. Okay, and this is a normal and controlled process by which the cells die. It is essential for maintaining the tissue homeostasis and for eliminating the damaged or the unwanted cells. Now, during apoptosis, what happens? Cells undergo a series of characteristic morphological changes, like disassembly of nuclear envelope. Now this leads to the breakdown of the nuclear membrane and the release of nuclear contents into the cytoplasm. Then what happens? DNA fragmentation happens. Now in DNA fragmentation, the DNA in the nucleus is broken down into smaller fragments. Then happens membrane blebbing. Okay, the cell membrane, it forms small bulges or blebs on the surface. Next happens cytoplasmic shrinkage. Okay, cytoplasmic shrinkage. Shrinkage. So the cell over here, it shrinks in size as the cytoplasm condenses. Okay. Next is increased cell size. The increased cell size is not a characteristic morphological feature of the apoptotic cells. In fact, the cells typically shrink during apoptosis. Okay. So therefore, answer C would be the correct one. That is the third thing that I have written it down. That is, it's not a characteristic morphological feature of the apoptotic cells. Okay, let's move over to the next one. Next question says competition between two populations in an ecosystem is beneficial to both the population, deleterious to both the population, beneficial to one population but deleterious to the other population, beneficial to one population but no effect on the other population. Now the statement competition between two populations in an ecosystem is beneficial to both the populations is generally false. Okay. Now, while there are some instances where competition can have positive effect on both the population, it is more often detrimental to at least one of the populations. Now, there can be several different types of competition and their effects. First one would be exploitative competition. Now, this occurs when one population reduces the availability of a resource for another population. So, what will happen in this case is this can harm both the population because especially if the resource is essential for survival, and if one population takes over it more than the other group of population, then of course it would be affecting both of them. Okay. Then interference competition is also there. Like what kind of interference competition are we talking about? When one population directly harms the other population, such as through predation or aggression, then this can harm the population being interfered with. Now, however, there are some cases where competition can have positive effects, like character displacement can happen, predator-prey dynamics can happen. Under character displacement, when two competing populations coexist, they may evolve traits that reduce the competition. This can lead to increased diversity and niche specialization. Then comes predator-prey dynamics. Now, in some cases, what happens, competition among the prey species can also help to keep the predator populations in check. So, these are two things where the competition can have positive effects. Okay. So, overall, we can say this, the statement that competition is always beneficial to both the population is again an oversimplification, because competition is again a very complex interaction that can have a variety of effects on both the populations involved. So yes, that's it. Let's keep it till here today. If you want to join our classes for the solution part or for preparing for any kind of entrance exams, then you can check the description box below this video. You will get all the details. Thank you for being with me till the end.